I always started presentations with that question, what is green burial? Because there's usually somebody new in the group, or a lot of new people in the group are wondering, what does that term really mean? And we have usually defined it as burial with no conventional embalming fluids. They do have embalming fluids now that are considered green. My understanding is that they are alcohol-based rather than formaldehyde-based. So they are more temporary in nature. But definitely without the conventional embalming fluids, with no vault. And that's really the big kicker. Cemeteries have been requiring vault for a couple generations now. And if you get rid of the vault, then anything's possible at that point. And with biodegradable materials. That's the third piece of the quote-unquote green recipe, which is that whatever you bury your body with, make it biodegradable, and pretty much then their body gets reincorporated back into the earth and all the little creatures and things that play their role in that process. We really tried to boil it down to a very simple formula, a very simple recipe. Just get rid of these two things, add these things, and voila, you have green burial. Well, in retrospect, that was kind of a mistake. It's all true, but one of the lessons we've learned from the two cemeteries around here that started off green burial is that just following that recipe is not enough. It doesn't really cut it. And I'm going to unpack a little bit why that is, and then we'll look at how those two cemeteries are performed. I'm trying to move away from just that simplistic look, and I'll be explaining why. As I like to say, that definition is a lot like saying that what people love about having dinners with friends is getting the right balance of fats, proteins, and carbs. Is that what it's really about? Just getting your fats, proteins, and carbs? Or is there a whole lot more to it? Is there an experience, really, that people are looking for? And that's what we're learning. That people are looking for most life after death, in a way. One really inherent desire is that connection with the natural world. And up here, we mostly feel that connection either with water, we don't really do water burial, or with the forests up here. And that's one reason why I see green burial being attractive for people from all walks of life, because people who like those ATV trails, they can be as interested in green burial as the people who like their ski trails. The hunters and the fishing people like it just as much as the hikers. It's the connection to the forest that we're finding is really attractive to people. I like to say the cuisine of burial matters. People have tastes and traditions. Burial is more than just a means of disposal. One nice thing about Chassell Cemetery is that they allow the people who attend the burial to fill it in the grave. And I've attended a couple of those. It's a very different experience when you hang out for up to an hour, you talk, you take turns, you spend some real time there. You really develop that sort of community kind of experience with the burial. Most of the funerals I go to, and I go to a lot of them up here because I grew up in Calumet and Loriem and I have a lot of relatives and know a lot of people. But you show up at the cemetery, some clergy person says a bunch of words, and then everyone just walks away, and the cemetery takes care of the burial. Very different experience to do it, or at least parts of it yourself. Aesthetics. People are attracted by beauty and atmosphere. It really does matter how things look, is what we have learned. And this little piece was quite an insight that finally we came to a couple years ago. People like to imagine themselves dead in the same way that they enjoy being alive. If you like hunting and fishing, and I've had people who say, if I was to die while hunting, I wish they would just let me lie there or bury me right where I draw. I told the folks at Lakeview Cemetery in Calumet once that if you could extend those ski trails up into your cemetery a little bit and call it the cemetery loop, You would attract some skiers, probably. They weren't listening to anything I said at that point, so. But yeah, people like to think of their body as going on wherever and however they enjoy life.